Sit right here. No, sit right here.
We will start in 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Okay. That's why it's good for us to be here.
He probably went home and prayed where he is. I didn't get a chance to ask him after school because I had one school. To ask him. I said, this is really different. It's really different. Like being a Christian church is very different. But we're going to talk to Scott and still it has to be a non-negotiable for us. It is. I feel like the rest of our teachers are similarly,
مساء الخير. أيها الأحبة، أسعد الله مساءكم بكل خير، وأهلا وسهلا بكم في رحاب المركز العربي الأميركي للثقافة والفنون، مع نشاط جديد من أنشطتنا التي نحاول من خلالها تعزيز حضورنا وثقافتنا في هذه البلاد. لمن لا يعرفنا بعد، من نحن؟ المركز العربي الأميركي للثقافة والفنون. نحن مؤسسة ثقافية تأسست قبل حوالي 6 أعوام، ب 20 أبريل 20 أبريل بنكون صرنا عمرنا 6 سنين بالضبط. ما بعرف إذا بتعرفوا بالتاريخ العربي ليش 20 أبريل؟ What does it signify؟ سالم 20 نيسان شو صار؟ تأسيس الرابطة القلمية الأولى تبعية جبران خليل جبران وميخائيل العايمي في نيويورك سنة 1920. فنحن نطمح لأن نكون الرابطة الثقافية الثانية في العالم. نقيم نشاطاتنا حضوريا في هذا المكان كل أول أربعاء في الشهر، ونقيم أمسيات افتراضية عبر الإنترنت في أيام متفرقة خلال الشهر. نظمنا أمسيات مباشرة من معظم الدول العربية، من أستراليا، من كندا، من لندن. وللعلم نحن مؤسسة غير ربحية، يعني non-profit organization، اللي بحب يتبرع لنا we are a part, we are ready for that. هيئتنا الإدارية تتألف من الفقير لله تعالى رئيسة، الدكتور نبيل الخطيب العميد السابق لكلية الآداب والعلوم الإنسانية في الجامعة اللبنانية في بيروت نائبا للرئيس، السيدة حنان شرارة أمينة للسر، السيد وسام شرف الدين أمينا للصندوق، والأعضاء الدكتور هاني بواردي والدكتور وسام المليجي، وهما أستاذان في جامعة يوف ديربورن، الأستاذ علي أديب أستاذ اللغة العربية في جامعة نيويورك، الشاعر الأستاذ رامي كنعان، الشاعر الأستاذ ياسر سعد، والإعلامي الأستاذ قاسم دغمان. بتمنى من الزملاء اللي موجودين هون يوقفوا بس حتى الناس تتعرف عليهم. تفضل اللي موجودين هون. كما يشرفنا أيها الأحبة أن تقفوا إلى جانبنا، أن تتعاونوا معنا، سيما وأننا نسعى إلى الإضاءة على ما تواجهه هذه الجالية من تحديات وهموم وقضايا. وما أمسيتنا هذه الليلة إلا نموذجا لما نقوم به، علما أننا نظمنا أمسية مطلع شهر شباط الماضي، وكانت مع قاضي قضاة مدينة ديربورن الدكتور سالم. ومن حيث المبدأ يفترض أن تكون أمسيتنا للشهر المقبل مع رئيس بلدية ديربورن هايتس بالبز. أيها الأحبة، يمكن للقطاع الطبي أن يشفي أجسادنا من الأمراض والأوبئة، ويمكن لقطاع المحاماة أن يساعد في حل المشاكل العالقة بين الناس، ولكن لا شيء يمكنه أن يشفي مجتمعنا وجاليتنا ويساعد في بنائها وتدعيمها مثل القطاع التربوي. أهم قطاع على الإطلاق هو قطاع التربية والتعليم. صحيح أن بيوتنا هي الأسس الأولى لتربية أبنائنا وتنشئتهم، لكن مدارسنا تحمل الكثير من الأهمية في مجال التربية والتنشئة والتعليم. هنا في المدارس تتفتح عيون أبنائنا أكثر على الحياة، تشتد هنا سواعدهم، تقوى عقولهم، تعلو أحلامهم وآمالهم ببناء مستقبل أفضل. لذا كانت أمسيتنا هذه للإضاءة على تجربة رائدة تقوم بها مقاطعة كريستوود التعليمية. أيها الأحبة، لست أدري، وأنا متأكد أنه معظمكم بوافقنا الرأي، نحن بكل موقع نذهب باتجاه السلبيات، ما بعرف ليش. لا نضيء إلا على ما يسيئنا، ما بعرف ليش. ليش بنحب نجلد حالنا كمان، ما بعرف ليش. ونتناسى كثيرا الجوانب الإيجابية. نحن يا أحبتي لن نفعل كما النعامة التي تغرس رأسها في الرمل كي لا ترى. بالعكس، نحن تماما نرى جيدا أن المشهد التربوي ليس سليما تماما، ونعلم أن هناك كثير من التحديات، ولكن ينبغي ألا نغمض أعيننا على الإنجازات التربوية الهائلة التي تشهدها هذه الجالية. أنا بتذكر أول مرة جيت على ديربورن كان سنة 2004، يعني من تقريبا 19 سنة، يوم ما تعينت قنصل العام بديترويت. يومتها ما بتذكر كان في بعد قضاة منتخبين، صح يا أستاذ سالم؟ ما كانش بعد في حد، ما كان في بعد حتى بورد ممبرز. بتذكر كان في سرعينة، سوزان سرعينة. elected officials كان في بعد، بتذكر منيح، كان في عبد هيدوس رئيس بلدية وين سيتي. هلا اطلعوا حواليكم، عن جد شيء بكبر القلب. كريستوود بورد كم؟ 7 ممبرز. حسن كم في عندنا من اصلهم عرب؟ 6 out of 7. طلعوا على الببليك، على معظم المايرز بديربورن هايز، بهامترامك، من اصول عربيه، وهكذا. شوفوا عدد الاطباء والمحامين والصيادله والمهندسين ما في محل بتروح عليه بديربورن او بديربورن هايز الا بتلاقي حواليك الدكتور كذا الدكتور كذا، كلهم من اصل عربي. هولي بالله على طريقه اهل الجنوب، من وين كانوا بدهم يجوا هون؟ لولا هذا القطاع التربوي الرائع والمهم، ان كان بكريستوود والله بديربورن، عن جد انا من قلبي بدي اوجه لكم كلكم لاعضاء البورد تحيه من كل قلبي لو سمحتوا. سنناقش الليله ايها الاحبه مع ضيوفنا التحديات التي يواجهها القطاع التربوي، ولا سيما في كريستوود. تتعلق هذه التحديات بالدور الذي تقوم به المجالس التربوية، إدارات المدارس، حاجات هذه المدارس. شوف، بلاش نكذب على بعض، كلكم بتعرفوا حجم الجاب، الفجوة كبيرة، إن كان بين الأهل وبين أولادهم. أنا من مدة كنت عم بحكي لأخينا حسن، أب طفل عمل مشكلة على إنه حامل تليفون بالصف، بعتنا وراه، عمل مشكلة مع المعلم، بعتنا ورا البي، عملوا له الأبي يقول لك يا حبيبي على الأقل ما تخلي ابنك يحمل التليفون، يهمه من إيده بس يكون عم يدرس بالبيت. اللي أنا أتجرأ، أب لا يتجرأ أن ينتزع تليفون من إيد ابنه. بعطي نموذج. في جاب كبيرة كان بين الأهل وأولادهم، بين الأهل والمدارس، بين المدارس والطلاب. في هذه الأمسية سنحاول الإضاءة عليها. ضيوفنا الليلة كل اسم بذكره بتمنى أنه يتفضل عنا على المسرح. الدكتور يوسف مسلم، المشرف العام لمدارس مقاطعة كريستوود التعليمية، تفضل. السيدة دانيال الزيات، رئيسة المجلس التربوي لمقاطعة كريستوود التعليمية. الأستاذ حسن سميح بيضون، نائب رئيس المجلس التربوي لمقاطعة كريستوود. الأستاذ روني عبد الهادي، مدير ثانوية كريستوود. خي حسن اذا حكيت كلمتين حلوين عنك تزعل. طيب تفضل. الناشط الاجتماعي الاستاذ حسن بس. تفضل. سيكون لكل من الضيوف الكرام ما بين 5 إلى 7 دقائق come to the podium ليحكي اللي عندهم، ونتمنى على الضيوف الكرام أن يتحدثوا بالعربية. هذه شغلتنا يعني وإذا كان الأمر صعبا لا بأس من مزج الحديث باللغتين. وما يتبقى من الأمسية سنخصصه للأسئلة والأجوبة، والأسئلة ستكون كتابة حتى نستفيد قدر أكبر من الوقت. بداية سنكون مع الدكتور يوسف مسلم. تفضل.
Assalamu alaikum. I know I was told I need to speak in Arabic and in English, but I'm going to do everybody in the audience a favor and only speak in English, so I apologize. I can tell you the stories about how many times my parents wanted me to learn Arabic. They would drop me off somewhere to learn Arabic, but then I would never show up to class. But I don't want any of our students to hear that. My name is Yusuf Muslim. I am you, you are me. This is our community. In 2019, I had the honor and the privilege to apply for, interview, and receive the superintendency of the Crestwood School District. It was an honor, one of the greatest honors I've ever had. Not to be a superintendent, but to be somebody that represents our community in a leadership role that will ensure that every single one of our children will have the best education they can have. But no matter what, and how easy and wonderful that sounds, it's not easy. It is a challenge. And the challenges that we face are no different than the challenges that are faced across the nation right now, especially after COVID. And in order to overcome our challenges, and in order for us to truly help our children get to the next level, to truly be our next set of multi-millionaires, whatever it may be, like Dr. Ajumi said, what has to happen is we have to do it together. Who does not care about those children more than anybody else in this world? You see, because all of us, when we're asked, how many children do you have? I literally respond and say, I don't know, about 4,029. And then they're like, no, how many children do you have at home? And I'm like, 4. This is what we are. We will, and our focus is that every single child has the safest and best opportunity to find success in our school district. And I am excited and I am so happy, and I thank Mr. Hassan Bazzi and Dr. Ala Ajmi for having us here tonight. And I just want to conclude with this before we move on. In March of 2020, we had to close down our schools. The pandemic, and I always reiterate to people, this is a pandemic. It's across the world, it's global. We truly identified during that pandemic where us as a district and a community had gaps, as Dr. Ajmi mentioned. And we are continuing to do everything in our power to close those gaps. And there are a lot of people in this audience right now who are unsung heroes. And there are a lot of people in the Crestwood community who are unsung heroes that do a lot of things behind the scenes to help our children. So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for having me. Thank you for being here. And I look forward to our conversation.
والآن مع نائب رئيس المجلس التربوي الأستاذ حسن سميح بيضون. تفضل.
السلام عليكم. أنا اسمي حسن سميح بيضون ابن الحاج أبو عامر. أول شيء بتذكروني على العربي شوي مكسر، بس يعني هعمل قد ما في. أول شيء بحب أتشكر دكتور علي عجمي، أستاذ حسن بزة، جاري أبو نادر Elite Sports for sponsoring the event. Ahmed Mike Mackey, thank you. I want to thank everyone and the Arab American Museum for having us today. On behalf of the whole board, thank you. I know President الزيات is going to speak and close it out for us on behalf of the board, so she will have a lot more things to say for sure. أنا اشترينا أول بيت بديربورن هايتس أنا وجوزتي ريتا ب 2009. صار عندنا صوفيا 12 سنة وعلي 10 سنين وميلا 8 سنين. أول شيء بس جينا على المنطقة بصراحة ما نعرف حدا. تعرفنا على أبو نادر بالأول، بس عرفنا أبو نادر الجار تغير كل شيء، يعني النظر كله تغير. بس عن جد بشتغل بجنرال موتورز بالتجارة. صرت بجي ام من 2008. على جنب بعمل كوتش للفوتبول بالرياضة بكريستوود. بلشنا بريفرسايد ب 2010 وضلينا نتقدم شوي مع الأولاد ونتحسن ويعني نتقوى بهالشيء بالرياضة. وصرنا أنا كوتش بكريستوود هلا بالهاي سكول. تخرجت من الجامعة ب 2006 from University of Michigan. وهلا بدي احكي شوي عن مدينة ديربورن هايتس ومطرح وين كنا وين صرنا. بالأول ب 2016 ما كان في ولا حدا من الجالية على مجلس الدولة. هذا أول شيء. أول بورد ممبر اللي دخل كانت نادية بري. وهلا صرنا 6 أصوات. عندنا بريزيدنت رئيسة المجلس دانيال الزيات. دانيال بتجيب هلا هي بديربورن و the head of the health and safety and security of Dearborn schools. بس من قبلها كانت بالوين كاونتي homeland security. يعني وهلا عندنا حاج بلال أيمن هو على البورد. من شغله من لما هو وصغير عرفته بقى يشتغل مع الأولاد مع الأطفال بالرياضة كمان. هلا هو معنا على البورد. حاج محمد صباغ هلا هو على البورد كمان. حاج محمد بيشتغل one of the largest banks in the world. You have also David Williamson. Okay, David Williamson بيجيب تفكيره بيحب الشغايل مش بس الرياضة، بيحب الباند وبيحب الثياتر وبيساعد كمان. وعندك هلا سلوى فواز تشتغل بفورد موتور كومباني. again تفكيري غير كمان. So هلا إذا بنطلع نحن كل الشقف مع بعضنا. كل واحد لحال يقدر بيكون قوي بالشغايل اللي هو مهم فيهم. بس مع بعضنا هلا نحن قوية. وعندك أحلى سوبرنتندنت بالعالم هو حج يوسف مسلم. اوكي بدي شوي عن دكتور مسلم. دكتور مسلم بس تعرفت عليه قبل ما انا اتدخل بالسكول بورد. تعرفت عليه شوي من الرياضه وبالفوتبول وشفت انه هو بيضل كيف بيقولوا بيضل قوي وبيضل صوته طالع وبيضل عم بيجرب يشتغل على الشغايل. انه مرات ما فيك توصلي على الاخر بس هو بس بيحط براسه شيء. بديش اقول الكلمه I know what you guys are thinking. بس بيحط براسه شيء بيدفش قد ما فيه وبياخذ الجالي كل حواليه ليتقوى لينجح. وهلا اللي جابنا هون اليوم هذه هالشغله وهالتفكير. يعني انا كل الانسان بيعمل غلط كل لسان. بس أنا بقول مرات الحمد لله مطرح ما أنا، لأنه إذا أنا بفكر بالغلط أو بعمل غلط أو شيء بيصير، عندي خيي يوسف وعندي خيي بلال وعندي أختي دانيال وعندي الجماعة اللي قاعدين وراي واللي قبالي بيجربوا يساعدونا لنتقوى مع بعض. وهذه الشغلة اللي بدي أحكي عنها، عن وين بدنا نروح. هلا بتشوفوا في شغايل كثير بكريستوود عم تتصلح، بتشوفوا الجرافات برا عم يجربوا الارض، في شغايل كثيره عم تساوي، والتاكس تاعون البيوت ما غلي. هذه الشغله بترجع لدكتور مسالم والادمنستريشن تبعه. هو اخترع ولقى طريقه ليصرف المصاري على الاولاد وعلى البنايات وعلى يعني هذه المدينه تبعنا ليقويها بلا ما يغلى على العالم كله. هذه الشغايل كلها لانه المجلس وراه، مش بس هيك جاليتنا بتضل وراه، لانه في ثقه مش بس نحن بنوثق فيه، هو بيوثق فينا كمان. هالشغايل كلها مهمه. وبصراحه انا يعني بضلني اقول لاولادي، بقول لكل العالم، نحن نيالنا اللي عايشين هون اولادنا لانه بيروحوا على كريستوود. بعد في شغايل كثير بدنا نعملها، وبعد في يعني النظر لقدام. بس اذا فيكم توصلوا لكل شيء، يعني ما حطيناش النظر لابعد. لازم نضل يبعد النظر، كل ما نقرب لازم نبعد، ولازم نضلنا نقوي بعضنا ونقوي جاليتنا ونقوي اللي حوالينا. وبآخر شيء يعني it's home. Crestwood is home. Thank you.
والآن سنكون مع روني عبد الهادي. روني مدير مدرسة ثانوية كريستوود، تفضل.
حسن أنا مش خيك؟ السلام عليكم. راني عبد الهادي معكم. أنا ابن حج شوقي عبد الهادي من ضيعة برعشيد. So I'm going to speak in English for two very, very valid reasons. Not that my Arabic is not that good. It's decent, but I'm going to speak in English for two valid reasons. One, my wife is, my lovely wife is here, and she is very fluent in Arabic. She used to translate in Arabic, actually, and she's just waiting for those miscues to kind of let me hear about it every day for the rest of my life. So that's the first thing. Second valid reason is my uncle, Sam Salami, is in the audience, and I do not want to be the punchline for family dinners for the next 5 to 10 years. I'd like to start off by thanking Dr. Ali Ajami, the Arab American National Museum, Mike Mackey and Elite Sports for hosting this event. I so strongly believe that the dialogue we have here tonight is going to be fruitful and very important dialogue, because not only at Crestwood, but in our neighboring districts and districts all across the state, even across the country, the challenges are very huge for education, especially after COVID and everything that transpired during that time. And there can be a stronger message than bridging that gap between the community, between the parents and the schools, to build that strong partnership that's really going to be beneficial and fruitful to our children in the future. I came to the Crestwood district in 2020. I've been there for a little over about 2 years now. And I used to work with Dr. Musalam in the Dearborn district. And I knew what type of man he was. I knew what type of educational leader he was. And I saw and believed his vision from when we were at Fortson. And when this position became available, I didn't even have to think for more than 5 seconds about it, that this is what I want to apply for. This is the man I want to follow. And thanks to him, thanks to the Board of Education for giving us the resources and everything we need to really move Crestwood District to the next level. It will move to the next level. I have no doubt in that whatsoever. under his leadership, and I'm proud to be part of this district. And I want to thank you all tonight for joining us and helping us move not only our school, but just the dialogue to move all our children to the next level. Thank you.
دانيال it's your turn now. دانيال زياد رئيسة البورد كريستوود educational board. تفضل.
Thank you very much. مرحبا وأهلا وسهلا فيكم. I'd like to thank you all for having us here today, and I want to thank you all for participating in this event today. I do see out in the crowd that we do have some Crestwood employees from our Crestwood family. If you could please stand and be recognized. I won't name you all, but I'd like you all to stand and be recognized, please. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. So my name is Daniel الزيات. My maiden name is Maki. I'm from Bint Jbel. Hassan Bazi threatened me and told me that I had to tell everybody that. My mother is from Tibnan. I'm pretty well-rounded in that sense. My husband is from Syria. I have to go home and sleep in that house today, so I'll tell you that too. So I'm like a mutt. You get a little bit of everything with me. So I wanted to take some time, and Hassan did a great job talking about the board and you know what everybody brings to the table on the board, انه كيف بنشتغل مع بعض و you know كيف عم نحاول انه مش بس ندرس اولادنا، بس عم نحاول انه نربي اولادنا، بس ما فينا نعملها لحالنا، انه نحن عايزين مساعده من الاهالي. الاهالي اهم شيء، اهم شيء. انا لما كنت صغيره بالبيت يعني بيي كان يقلنا انه في اخلاق، انه في اخلاق، ما فيك تمشي بهالدنيا بلا اخلاق. و يعني بس you know صرت ربي اولادي انا انه جربت اقول قد ما فيي وجربت اعلمهم عن الاخلاق. لان المدرسه عم بتدرس، عم بيقروا، عم بيعملوا ماث، بيعملوا ساينس وسوشيال ستاديز، بس الاهالي بالبيت اهم شيء. فانا عم بوقف قدامكم اليوم بسأل إنه الأهالي يجوا على المدارس، إذا بدهم مساعدة بشيء نحن بنساعدهم، نحن بنحاول نساعدهم، إنه ما فينا نربي أولادنا لحالنا. كان بأيام القديمة إنه يعني الضيعة المدينة كل العالم بيربوا أولادهم مع بعض، فأنا إذا عندي ولد وحدا إجا شاف غلط بابني او ببنتي فيحكي معهم هن. هلا عم شوف الناس ان حدا حكى مع اولادهم بيزعلوا دغري، لا مش ابني، لا مش بنتي. كنا نوثق بالمدارس انه يحكوا مع اولادنا، وكنا نحن نخاف انه حدا من المعلمه او المدير يتلفن على البيت. كنا نحن نخاف لأن بنعرف إنه أمي أو بيي وأهلنا كانوا رح يعيطوا علينا، كانوا يزعلوا مننا. فهلا عم لاحظ إنه إذا المدارس بيتلفنوا على البيت وبدهم يحكوا مع الأهالي دغري بيزعلوا، ما بدهم يسمعوا أي شيء وما بدهم يصدقوا إنه أولادهم عملوا شيء غلط. بس أنا بدي أقول لهم إنه كل ولد بيغلط، كل ولد بيغلط. ما في ولد واقف بالمدرسة أو عم بيروح على المدرسة وما بيغلط. ومعليش إذا غلط، إذا الولد ما غلط كيف بدنا نصلح الولد؟ إنه كيف بدنا نقول لهم إنه هيك غلط، بس تعال بدنا نعمل هالشي، بدنا نصح كل شيء. هذا أهم شيء. ما بدي حدا يفهمني غلط انه عم بقول انه الاهالي صاروا ما عم بيربوا اولادهم، لا ما عم بقول هيك، بس عم بقول انه بدنا نهتم بالاولاد اكثر. انا وجوزي من شي 10 سنين بلشنا جمعيه الامري فاونديشن، فلقينا انه اولادنا بالبيت عم يتربوا بين اولاد بس انه ما كانوا يعرفوا قيمه الدولار، ما كانوا يعرفوا قيمه الشغل، ما كانوا عم يفهموا بقيمة يعني تشارك مع العالم، مع الجيران، مع الجالية. فنحن حاولنا إنه نبلش هذا الجمعية لنعلم أولادنا هالشي. ويعني أهلا وسهلا فيكم إذا بدكم تجيبوا أولادكم، إذا حدا بيحب يساعد، إذا بدكم مساعدة نحن بنساعد بالمدارس. بس نحن عايزين organizations مثل الأميركي فاونديشن، مثل زمان انترناشونال organizations، مثل elite سبورتس خي أحمد مكي. يعني كل الأولاد عارفين إذا بدهم شيء، إذا عايزين شيء بيروحوا عائلي إنه في محمد موجود، والعالم اللي بيشتغلوا معه أحمد موجود وبيشتغلوا معه وهن بيحاولوا يساعدوهم. فبس كنت حابة احكي عن هالشي. وكمان بدي اتشكر علي عجمة وخي حسن بزة، راني، حسن، يوسف. نحن عن جد we are truly a lucky community. We are blessed. We have so much good in this community. And I would say out of 100%, we have 10% that we really need to work on. But nobody can do it alone. إنه ما حدا في يعملها لحاله. We need everybody to work together. And it's a whole community approach. The whole community approach means everybody who has a stake in the community works together to lift the community up. And that's really what we need. So it takes a partnership. And the partnership is the parents at home, the people in school, the business owners, okay? The business owners, the organizations, everybody working together to uplift our community. And that's what I call on our community to do today. So thank you for listening to my words. I appreciate it. I'd like to apologize for my Arabi in English, which is Arabize, if you haven't heard. And thank you.
ومسك الختام مع الأستاذ حسن بزة. تفضل.
السلام عليكم جميعا. أي عمل أي إنسان بده يقوم فيه أهم شيء إنه يؤمن بالعمل اللي بده يقوم فيه. قلت اللي دكتور خلينا لازم الإنسان يكون عنده إيمان بربه قبل كل شيء، وبعدين بأي عمل بده يقوم فيه. مسيرة طويلة بلشنا فيها بمقاطعة كريستوود. بدي أتطرق لبعض النقاط قبل ما أبدأ الحديث. بدي أتشكر سعادة السفير الدكتور علي عجمي على الجهد اللي عم بيقوم فيه، والمركز العربي الأميركي للثقافي والفنون، والمنتدى الثقافي في ديربورن، وجميع الأعضاء على هذه الاستضافة لنا لنبحث بأمور ومناقشة الأمور التربوية لمقاطعة كريستوود في مدينة ديربورن هايتس. كان العنوان التحديات. ما بيعني هيدا انه شيء سلبي، بالعكس ابدا. التحديات ممكن تكون ايجابيه في اشياء كثير بنعرفها، بس في اشياء كمان لازم نتعلمها. فكلمه التحديات شوي كانت سئلت عنها، فان شاء الله الاشياء الايجابيه بتكون خلال هالنقاش الليله. والسؤال الثاني اللي سئلته انه ليش بالمركز العربي بالمتحف هون او بخارج مدينه ديربورن هايتس او خارج مقاطعه كريستوود بالتحديد. ما في اي شخص يمكن اذا بدي سمي الا ما كان له علاقه بالمركز العربي الامريكي. المركز العربي هو تاريخ لجاليتنا، كلنا اشتغلنا فيه، وكثير نحن فخورين ونعتز انه عندنا مركز مثل المتحف هون، خاصة المتحف العربي الأميركي. بنوجه له تحية كثير كبيرة. بدي أشكر المجلس التربوي لمدينة كريستوود ممثل برئيسة المجلس السيدة دانيال الزيات، ونائب رئيس المجلس الأستاذ حسن بيضون على الجهد اللي عم بيعملوه مع باقي أعضاء المجلس التربوي. وبحب كمان أشكر بشكل خاص صديقي العزيز المشرف العام السوبرنتندنت الدكتور جو مسلم، يوسف مسلم. والشكر ايضا موصول هيدي مهمه كبيره كمان، انه وقت الشخص بيتعامل مع طلاب كثيره، الاستاذ راني عبد الهادي على الجهد اللي بيحطه كل يوم. بدي اغتنم كمان الفرصه حتى لي حيي الطاقم كله من الاساتذه، من المعلمين، من فوق لتحت، يعني لحتى اصغر موظف فيهم. هذا جهد كبير عم بيقوموا فيه، وعندهم امانه كبيره، اكبر امانه ممكن انه اي بي او ام او اي شخص يسلم الامانه لاشخاص بيوثق فيهم. الامانه هي اولادنا، عم نسلمهم اولادنا، وهن قد هالمسؤوليه ان شاء الله بعملهم وبشغلهم وبرؤيتهم للمستقبل لهالمقاطعه هيدي. الشكر للاهالي كمان اللي عم بيبذلوا جهد كبير انه بيحاولوا يتواصلوا مع الاداره، يتواصلوا مع المجلس التربوي. بدي نوه بشخصين او ثلاثه مع احترامي للكل، يعني كل واحد بيبذل جهد. بخلال مسيرتنا كنا مجموعه كبيره، رح اتطرق لبعض المواضيع، بس بشكل خاص بدي اتشكر احدى السيدات اللي وقفت معنا بمسيرتنا وقت اللي كنا عم نعاني بمقاطعه كريستوود، كمان رح اذكرها هلا، وتقدمت واعطت وقت من جهدها ومن بيتها ومن عائلتها، وكانت دائما تكون معنا موجوده، وكانت الصوت المدوي مثل ما نقول بوقت الاجتماعات. هلا حاليا كانت عضو بالمجلس التربوي، وهلا رئيسه البي تي اي بريفر سايد، السيده نجاح جنون. بليز thank you for all what you did and what you do. مشان ما يفوتني كمان اشخاص كثير اشتغلوا بتقدم هالديستريكت، وشخص كثير عزيز على قلبي، يعني كان يترك شغله ويجي يشتغل معنا دائما، يكون موجود ويتابع الامور جهد كبير، هو الصديق زهير عبد الحق. شكرا زهير على كل اللي عملته. وايضا الشكر موصول لصديقي الاستاذ عدنان سلامي، كمان الاستاذ عدنان حط وقت كثير وجهد كثير. شكرا. مجرد التنويه بهالاشخاص هيدي انه بحث الاشخاص الثانيين انه يتقدموا. هيدي مسيره طويله عم نمشي فيها، يعني هلا موجود عندنا مجلس تربوي، يمكن اي شخص يكون عنده ظروف او يمكن بده يترك المجلس، فنحن كاهل ككوميونتي كاكتيفست انه لازم نكون دائما موجودين لحتى نساعدهم كلهم. وقت بنحكي انه الاشخاص اللي بيقدموا بيساعدوا، شخص بيعطي وقت بيعطي جهد، وهو يمكن من احد الاشخاص موجود بمدينتنا بديربورن هايتس، بعتز كثير بصداقته على الاشياء اللي بقدمها للمقاطعه للهاي سكول. صاحب مؤسسه اليت سبورتس والسبونسر لهيدي الليله صديقي احمد مكي. احمد ثانك يو فور اول وات يو دو فور وعن اذنك دكتور علي، يعني بدي اتشكر الاخ اسماعيل جمعه واسماعيل كمان العباس الشاب وكل الاشخاص اللي اللي تفضلوا معنا الليله. شغلتين بدي اقولهم. المسيره كانت طويله كثير، طويله كثير. يعني وقت اللي بلشنا كان بلشت قصه الاي اس ال، ثنائي اللغه. كان البورد القديم، يعني ما بديش هلا نلومهم ونرجع، يمكن ما كان عندهم فكره عن نوعيه الجاليه اللي يعني بلشت الجاليه تنمو بديربورن هايتس، وبلشت بقصه الاي اس ال. اجوا كثير طلاب وصارت الهجره، في ناس ما بتحكيش عربي، وصار في صراع يعني كثير قوي، وتدخلت وزاره العدل الامريكيه وصار في اجتماعات نحن وياها، ومن هون بلشت القصه. رحنا اول اجتماع على المجلس التربوي كان باللايبرري بثانويه كريستوود، فتنا مجموعه 7 8 10 اشخاص طلعوا فينا انه من اي كوكب جايين نحن، بحياتهم ما شافوا، يعني من الاهالي بيجوا where you guys coming from. ما كان في كرسي نقعد عليها، قلنا لهم يعني انه في امور بدنا نحكيها وكذا. اول شيء ما اخذونا بشكل جدي. قلت لها لرئيسه المجلس التربوي، كان زهير موجود، كان عدنان، كان في اشخاص، قلت لها بوعدك من هلا وبالرايح كل اجتماع رح تشوفينا هون واتمنى انه يكون في كراسي لنقعد عليها. وبدأنا المسيره، مسيره كانت طويله. قصه الاي اس ال وصلت لانه اجتمعنا كذا مره مع وزاره العدل الامريكيه، وبعتقد هلا يمكن دكتور مسلم انه خلصت البروبيشن. Is it true?
Very close.
Very close. يعني هيدي كانت نقطة كتير جوهرية حتى نبلش نحن وياهم. حكينا بقصة الأكل، قصة الأكل الحلال. يعني كان بلشت الجالية تنمو، بلش العرب والمسلمين يفوتوا. يعني ما في شيء غلط، الديموغرافية كلها تغيرت بديربورن هايتس، إنه بده يروح الصبي بده ياكل أو كذا. ما طلع يعني ناس كمان من اخواننا الامريكان ووقفوا قال يعني اللي بده ياكل جيبوا الاكل، وقلنا لهم بدكم مساعده، بدكم شيء. يعني كانت هيدي من احدى الاشياء. وصلنا لقصه اللغه العربيه، يعني كثير مهمه هيدي كمان، قصه انه انوجدت بالمدارس. ووصلت لمرحله كان في 0 عضو من السبعه من العرب. صار في ترشح، يعني بلشت بالسيدة واندا سعد بهذيك الايام مع حلفها الحظ. صار في فراغ بالمجلس التربوي. هذه كثير نقطه. كنت مارق من حد ريفر سايد، في احد اعضاء المجلس كان عم يشتغل هونيك وهو عضو، وجينا بحثنا هالقصه، طلع في كونفليكت، قام استقال. فحكينا نحن وياهم، واول شخص عين كان المحامي حميد السويدان لفتره، بعدين اجت زينب حسين ترشحت. هيدا كمان نقاش كبير، انه وقت اللي بيصير فيه التصويت، يعني ما بعرف ليش بعد عنا هالعاده هيدي. يعني لازم نظهر، لازم نحط اولادنا ونحن انه نظهر نصوت لحتى نغير. ومشيت القصص لوصلت لمرحله انه المدارس صار الديستريكت صار بدهم باند من سنه 1967 ما قدروا مرقوا باند. Since 1967 they tried to pass a bond, never succeeded. So عملنا لجنه، اشتغلنا، حطينا وقت وجهد، ووقفنا بايام البرد وطرقنا كل البيوت ودفعنا مصاري. نجحت الباند ب 35 مليون دولار. يعني كانت اول باند، واثبتنا انه اذا فينا نقرر شيء بدنا نعمله عملناه. ونجحت الباند وصار في تحسين. هلا باي عمل بيصير في شويه لغط ما راح نوقف عندها ان شاء الله. اذا كان في شويه حكي هلا بالنسبه لباند جديده لحتى نحسن المدارس، يعني لحتى الجاليه تقدر تشتغل مع المجلس التربوي، لازم يكون في تعاطي من الجهتين. الرياضه شغله كثير مهمه. بعرف انه هلا الاداره والبورد عم بيحاولوا كمان. يعني كل هالامور هيدي ما رح تمشي لحالها، وكمان البورد ما رح فيه لحاله، والمدرسه ما رح تفي لحالها. هون بيجي دور، والدور المهم والدور الاساسي هو دور الاهل. لازم الاهل ينتبهوا، لازم يتفاعلوا مع الاداره، مع المجلس التربوي. مسيره طويله مرقنا فيها. بتمنى انه نتابع. بتمنى انه من الاهالي يجوا على الاجتماعات اذا حدا عنده كونسيرن، اذا حدا عنده اي سؤال. امريكا كلها فيها مشاكل، المدارس كلها فيها مشاكل، بيصير مشاكل بكريستوود، مش عم نقول لا ما راح نتخبى ورا اصبعنا. يعني يمكن هيدا وقت لحتى بتمنى باسمي الشخصي، باسم الاشخاص اللي مشوا بهالمسيره، انه المجلس التربوي يكون متضامن مع بعضه. بيصير في تباين بالرؤيه، بيصير في افكار مختلفه، ما هذا شيء طبيعيه. هيدي انه بتمنى انه يوقفوا وقفه وحده لحتى يكونوا دعم وسند للاداره. كثير محظوظين انه اجى لعنا مشرف عام، سوبر انتندنت بيفهمنا، بيفهم الكلتشر تبعيتنا، بيفهم اولادنا، بيفهم يتعامل معنا. نحن كثير محظوظين بكريستوود ديستريكت انه عندنا دكتور يوسف مسلم. I'm very proud and we are very happy to have you مسلم. البورد اوف اديوكيشن دانيال، السيد دانيال، يعني من احد الاشخاص نحكي اوقات بنختلف بشغلات معينه، بس بننهي الحديث دائما بطريقه كثير وديه. دائما بنحكي نحن وحسن الشباب اللي بنفتخر فيهم، واللي عن جد مثل ما ذكرت باول حديث، واللي بيحطوا وقت كثير. يعني شغله صعبه كثير. راني يعني في علاقه قديمه كثير نحن وياهم. بدي اقول قديش محظوظين، خلينا ناخذ ادفانتج من البورد اللي موجود، من الاداره اللي موجوده، ونساعدهم ونوقف معهم. بشكركم، بشكر حضوركم، بشكرك اجين دكتور علي، وبعتذر اذا تاخرت، واهلا وسهلا فيكم.
طبعا انا نبلش بالاسئله يعني. اذا اي حدا من الجمهور عنده اسئله راح تكون الاسئله كتابه. معلش في سؤال يا دكتور يوسف. صار في مشكله مؤخرا بكريستوود هاي سكول، بولينج، اوكي؟ وهذه مش بس صارت بكريستوود، بتصير بكل المدارس. Anyway, how could we face this challenge?
Thank you, Dr. Is this working? Good?
Just to press the button, Doctor.
It would help. How about now? Good? Okay. Sometimes the simple things. Bullying. Let's talk about bullying real quick. Bullying is a problem, has been a problem for many, many years. As a community, we have just in the last few years started to take on the task of trying to reduce bullying. But I'd like to talk about it from two standpoints. When a child or even an adult bullies, and the child or the adult who is on the receiving end of the bullying, there are two things that we must do. Number one, we must understand why the child or the adult is committing the bullying. Because when a child or even an adult commits bullying, there are deeper underlying needs for that child. And a lot of times what people like to do is they like to see that child receive a consequence. But a consequence doesn't resolve the problem. And we have to work with that child for that child to be able to understand how to get their feelings across. For the child or the adult who is on the receiving end of bullying, we have to teach them how to be resilient, how to face adversity, how to handle those type of situations. Everyone in this audience at some point, either as a child or even now as an adult, has faced adversity and has had to overcome that adversity. And if we teach children at a young age and how to be resilient and how to face adversity, we will teach them success, not for tomorrow only, but for years to come. This is the struggle. And where we can bridge that gap is the communication and the support with parents to have those conversations on how to help their children on both ends. Additionally, when we talk about these types of situations, we are always going from the standpoint of how do we teach? How do we inform? How do we help? And that takes time. And that's a process that takes patience. And the one thing I've learned, I've been in this business now since 1998. I've been in administration since 2006. The one thing that I have learned over time is that when you deal with children, you have to be patient. When you deal with parents, you have to be patient. And that patience has to be with each other. This is something that will be here forever. It is not something that we will end. But we can end it with each individual child as they struggle through it. I hope that answers the question.
دانيال، هناك تحديات كثيرة في تواجهنا. A lot of challenges. By priority, which comes number one, number two, number three?
So we do face a lot of challenges. Nothing is perfect, right? So we want to try to identify our gaps and we want to bridge those gaps. And I think the number one priority on everybody's mind, whether you're at the school, working in the school, or whether you're a parent at home who has a child in the school, or whether you're the child who's the student in the school, I feel the number one priority is health, safety, and security. So if our students are not healthy, and if they're not safe, and if they don't feel secure, they're not going to be able to learn to their full potential. So I believe that that's a major priority. Another major priority would be getting our students up to skill for the 2 years that they suffered from the pandemic. That's not an easy job to do, and it's not going to be something that's done overnight. I know that that's going to take us in the schools and you at home working together to help our students make up for what they lost. And it's not that they're behind, it's just that we want them to be more advanced, right? So 2 years of uncertainty for a child is a tremendous, tremendous amount, okay, of stress for them to carry around, let alone the parents dealing with it. And we're dealing with students now who have come back to the school. Things are supposed to be back to normal, and they're not, because everybody has a little bit of that post-traumatic stress that they're dealing with from those 2 years of loss. So I would say that's another priority for us, is getting students back up to par. I think another priority for us, a major one, is building an athletic facility that's safe for our students. And if you guys drive by the high school, you can see the progress that's been made on that. And you know, I'm happy myself that that's being done. So here's another challenge, is when everybody in the community isn't on the same page with how to move forward on a project, right? Some people think, spend money on something, don't spend money on something. And I say to everybody, we need to make decisions that are good for the students in the district, not just my student or Hassan's student or Ronnie's student or Yusuf's child. We need to make decisions for all the students in the district. My daughter has problems from 2017 on the whole right side of her body from the way that our field was. So when I see that field, you know, progressing and becoming a safer place for our kids to do athletics on that field, to have gym class on that field, we have outside organizations that come and use that field, that makes me feel better that they'll be safer. I think another priority that we have is working with our community, bringing in our community partners so our students know who they are, so that our staff know who they are, and Dr. Mosallam and his team do an excellent job doing that. We want everybody to realize that the Crestwood District isn't just our buildings and our students and our teachers. The Crestwood District is everybody who contributes and is a part of that district, and that's what I was talking about earlier with our whole community. So I feel that these are priorities for our district.
Thank you. Hassan. حكيت عن فجوة. I spoke about the gap. Dr. Yusuf spoke about the gap. Who do you think holds responsibility for this gap? Parents?
So أول شيء
school, board, who?
So أول شيء, it's a community. It's me, it's you, it's Yusuf, it's the parents, it's the kids. Like I said earlier, we're stronger together. What does that mean? It's not cliche. Right now, I heard you ask Dr. Mosallam and President El-Zayat the challenges. Well, let me tell you, there's not only challenges, to me they're not challenges, they're areas of opportunity, because nothing is perfect. And it's by human nature, when something becomes perfect, you want more. So then it's not perfect anymore to you, right? But let me tell you what is perfect that I see. What I see is the highway that's open. When children need backpacks and jackets, they call on either President El-Zayat or Emo with the Amity Foundation. He makes it happen. He does it in Dearborn, he does it in Dearborn Heights, and many other cities, all over Wayne County. Okay, that road, when the kids are practicing during 6th hour at Elite Sports, and Ahmed Makki opens the doors, and these kids walk in, they don't have water, they don't have something, and it's not about water, it's about the doors being open when they go in there, because we don't have a facility big enough for all of our students at one point to be in the gym or whatnot. Many high schools have multiple gyms. We have one, right? And that not only goes to show you of the community support, right? But we can go on and on and on and talk about many other businesses in the area. There's many, and I'm not going to name any more. But what I want to tell you is, it's being open. That highway's open, but now we have to go. We have to drive down that road. And on the flip side, when you talk about challenges, to me, honestly, I never say. I worked for someone when I was at GM. They never use the word where you could get better or what you're not doing right. They always use the word opportunity, because it's there. But how do we make it better? We could always, hindsight's 20/20. So when I go back and I watch this, I'm going to say, wow, I should have said this or I should have said that. Although maybe my point came across, there's always a better way to do it. And I think at Crestwood, what we continue to do is move forward. And Trustee Al-Zayat touched on that earlier, right? How do we keep moving forward? And honestly, I'm going to ask you, Dr. Ali Ajami, not to use the word challenges anymore. Use the word opportunities when it comes to Crestwood. Because I can assure you, with the panel we have in place, with the administration that we have in place, with the parents that we have in place, going from one end of the spectrum to the other, I really believe we have all the ingredients for success.
A question about special education. What's been done to address the challenge of this? What have you done regarding special education?
Well, there's a multitude of things that we've done. As a district, we've been given the resources and the tools. We've allowed a lot of time through what we call the PLC process, which are professional learning communities. This is a set amount of time that teachers receive on a weekly basis or through the district, through the professional development, that allows them to work together, to bring in people from the outside to provide supports, coaching, and modeling about how to address not only the special education in our schools, but the ELL students, our Gen Ed students, any student, any which way we can provide support for our students. There's things that are built in through Dr. Musalam and what the administrative team has allowed us to do to help support our students. We've even, with our counseling department, the resources we've added to our high school, for example, like which was never at Crestwood. We have a math literacy coach that's in charge of math, because we know reading and math are the two areas that we really need to concentrate, because they bring everything else up together. So through adding a math coach, through adding a language arts coach, and adding staff, support staff to meet the needs of struggling students, has given us all working together that opportunity to help address the concerns, the needs, and the areas of improvement that we've already seen gains from. And we have funding, but the biggest and what we've learned from our experiences, funding, you put it into people. People provide those resources to help our students reach the next level.
حسن. أبو نادر، برأيك هل الجالية موحدة؟ وهل المجلس التربوي موحد؟ وما تأثير ذلك إن كان موحد أو لا، إن كانت الجالية موحدة أو لا حول إنتاجية العمل؟
قبل ما أجاوب على هذا السؤال دكتور علي، سؤال كتير مهم. باي ذا واي، فاتني كمان إنه التجربة الكبيرة وقت اللي بنحكي بوقت الانتخابات إنه لازم نطلع نصوت. كان عندنا تجربة كمان مميزة بين 2016 وقت السيدة نادية بري ترشحت للانتخابات وكانت أول عضو مجلس تربوي بتنجح. الجالية كلها وقفت معها لأنه كان التغيير بوجه لها تحية من عن المنبر هيدا، وكمان الأخ بلي آمن من المجلس التربوي كمان بوجه لك تحية، وتحية لجميع أعضاء المجلس التربوي. إذا كانوا كلهم متفقين في شيء غلط. It's not healthy. مثل ما ذكرت بالأول، أوقات التباين بوجهات النظر كتير معقولة، مش ضروري يكونوا الكل متفقين على نقطة معينة. منيح التنوع، منيح البحث، والأهالي لازم يكونوا كتير واعيين ولازم يلعبوا دور كبير بمساعدة المدرسة. يعني المجلس التربوي في 7 أعضاء، لأقول لك إنه الكل بيكونوا متفقين على رأي معين، يمكن لا، في شيء بيصوت نعم، في شيء بيصوت لا. وهيدا يعني بطبيعة الحال كتير طبيعي وكتير هيلثي. بتمنى انه وقت اللي بده يصير في تصويت على شغلات، يعني بالنهايه اي شيء رح يعود لاولادنا ولطلابنا. بعتقد انه دائما باي اجتماع بيكونوا امام امتحان جديد كمان، لحتى يكونوا قد المسؤوليه. يعني ال7 أعضاء اللي موجودين على المجلس التربوي ما بيقبضوا مصاري كثير، ما بيحطوا وقت، يعني اكثريتهم انه مثل تبرع بوقتهم. فوقت اللي بيصير في نقاش بعتقد بالنهايه الصوت راح يصب بمصلحه طلابنا، وان شاء الله انه بنضل متفاهمين مع بعض. وبتمنى من الاهالي، بتمنى انه ما يحطوا براسهم انه بيخلص دورهم اذا وقت اللي بيوصلوا الولد على باب المدرسه بيحطوه وبيحملوا حالهم وبيفلوا. لا بالعكس، المدرسه ما فيها تربي الولد، يعني الاهالي لازم يلعبوا دور، لازم يسالوا اولادهم، لازم يعرفوا اذا بيشوفوا شيء مش مضبوط بيسمعوا. يعني عندنا مشكله كبيره بامريكا بالمدارس، مشكله المخدرات، يعني ما نحكي فيها، هيدي مشكله كثير خطره. يعني لازم الاهل يحكوا مع الاولاد، لازم يوعوهم. وانا بتمنى على جميع الاهالي انه بس يشوفوا شيء مش مضبوط غلط يبلشوا يسالوا، يبلشوا بالتشين اوف كوماند، يعني يروحوا على المدرسه يحكوا مع الاسيستنت برنسبل، مع البرنسبل، مع السوبر انتندنت. اذا ما وصلوا ما يسيروا بعض، ما يسيروهم، ما يسيروا حدا، يروحوا على المجلس التربوي كل جمعه بعد جمعه في لقاء. فلازم الاهل يلعبوا دور كبير، والدور اللي بيلعبوه الاهل رح كثير يساعد المدارس ان كان بالاداره او بالمجلس التربوي. هيدي كثير نقطه لازم الاهالي ينتبهوا لها.
دكتور يوسف، في سؤال كثير انسألت. مبنى كريستوود هاي سكول بيقولوا بالعربي أكل الدهر عليه وشرب، يعني it's almost collapsing. Is it this true? And what could be done to, have you any plans to rebuild, to, I don't know.
So you scared me for a second there. Alhamdulillah, it's not collapsing.
Almost.
Alhamdulillah, it's good. Physically, it's in great shape. Yeah, thank you. Before I begin, though, I want to mention Ammi Ubaye, Ustaz Muhammad Jamil Bazzi.
Yeah.
Okay? Ustaz Muhammad Jamil Bazzi كانت أستاذ بلبنان وأستاذ نعمة. When it comes to Crestwood schools, what everybody has to understand is the schools were built in the 1960s. Schools that were built in the 1960s are not built like they are now, nor how they were in the 1940s. They weren't built for what we do. Crestwood High School was built for maybe 900, 1,000 students. Crestwood High School was built to be a school that people walked to school. Not everybody drove to school. And like Ustaz Hassan Bazzi mentioned, there wasn't a bond since 1967. And then we had a bond in 2015. The bond in 2015, they started work in 2016. It was a $35 million bond. I give credit to Ustaz Hassan Bazzi, Zuhair Abdulhaq, Ahmed Maki, and others in this room for getting that bond passed. Because no bond was ever passed before then. But they had to make a sacrifice. They knew that we needed $70 million. But they went for $35 million just to get something started. Our school, we have an excellent team. We've invested. I'd like the community to know. Currently, the Crestwood School District is investing $15 million into the school district. And we are not raising anyone's taxes. And we are able to do this while we have added double to triple the amount of support staff in special education, double and triple the support staff in facilities. We've increased our technology. And why do I say all this? This is because our board, as well as our team, we ensure that every single dollar that is being spent correctly. Additionally, and moreover, when I came into this district, we had a 16% fund balance. Basically what that means is that take how much money you make at home, and then 16% of that you put in your savings. We are now at a 24% fund balance. We increased our savings account by 8% while we are doing all this work. Why do I say this? Now I'm going to get to my punchline. We are using the community's money correctly. And yes, we have more infrastructure work to do at our high school. We need to build a new gymnasium. We need to build more science classrooms. We need to build a better auditorium. We need to build more classrooms so we can reduce class size. We need to improve parking. Everybody keeps yelling at us about parking. We need to improve parking. We know we have to do all this. But just the high school alone, that's a good $20 to $30 million. And with school funding, we are very tied to what we get for specific things. That's another conversation. I'd love to have a panel sit down and talk to the community about how schools are funded, because I don't think people really understand where your tax dollars go and how they can be used. So, is Crestwood High School falling apart? No, alhamdulillah. Because if it was, I would tell you right now, I would tell you I need a bond tomorrow. But do we need to improve Crestwood High School? Yes. Do we need to improve Riverside Middle School? Yes. Do we need to improve Hillcrest, Highview, Cherry Hill, and Kinlock? Yes. Do we need another school? Yes.
That was my question.
We do need another school.
Okay.
And I say all this because, alhamdulillah, our community is growing. And our community deserves the best. We can no longer live in a system built in the 1960s. We need to live in a system built in the 2020s. Get us ready for 2100.
Okay. Thank you. Daniel, how having 6 board members changed the status of Crestwood? What is the real change before and after?
We have 7 board members.
Yeah, 6 out of 7.
Oh, having them Arab, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, before I answer that, I did want to touch on one thing about the schools and the condition of the schools. And I want to remind everybody and take you back about 30 years ago, when people were raising their families 30 years ago. I grew up a family of 7. We lived in an 1,100 square foot home, 1,100 square feet. I live in a home right now. We're raising 3 daughters in a 1,700 square foot home. And my kids think that our house is small. So we're going from a time where we used to put three kids in a bedroom together, and that was fine. That's how we lived. People used to come from overseas, live in our houses with us. Every inch of the house was used. Now we're living in a time where we want every child to have not only their own bedroom, they want their own master suite, and they want a family room, and they want a game room, and they want a theater. So I'm saying that, as our, wants, not our needs, as our wants change in the community, okay, we look at the things that were older, like an older building, and we want these improvements. So, for the safety of the students, there are improvements we need and we're working on, but on those wants that we need, we just ask for a little bit of patience, because that takes a lot of money and we're gonna need help doing that. So I did just wanna say that. And what is the benefit of having 6 Arab school board members? I think there's a lot of benefit in it. We have a community who is, predominantly Arab American, and now we have a board that represents our community, where before we didn't have that. We didn't have a voice before. I remember days when my kids were very young and starting the Crestwood district about 15 years ago, and I felt like there was no voice for our community. The only voice that we had were people who had the courage to stand up and fight for us, like Hassan Bazir and Zuhair Abdelhad, and to get us those things that Hassan talked about. Now I think that we have a board who can work together. They understand each other, and I have to be honest with you, I don't really think that this is all because it's 6 Arab Americans and 1 not. You know, to be honest with you, I think whether we were all white, all black, all Arab, I think everybody brings a certain skill to the table, not necessarily just their background of their heritage, right? And I think that that's very important to remember. And like Hassan talked before about the board, you know, we all bring something to the table. We all have that, you know, that special expertise where when you put all of these things together, right, they make an excellent board to work with. And that's what we need your help with. I do want to say to the parents out there and to our community that just because you see a board that has 6 Arab Americans on it, doesn't mean that we don't have to follow the rules. Doesn't mean that we don't have to live by grant, you know, what allowable costs are for grants. Doesn't mean that we don't have to follow the law. It doesn't mean إنه في واسطة هون وواسطة هون وابن عمي وبنت خالتي. Those things are challenging. So I would say it is challenging to be an Arab American on a board where your community are your family, right? Or they're the friends that you grew up with, and you try to have to please everybody. And at the same time, everybody thinks that you have to please them, or that you have to do a favor for them, or because they voted for you, that whatever they want is the most important thing. So I'd like to call on our community to alleviate some of that burden. And I'm not saying don't call for help. We're always here for you. But to alleviate some of the burden where you think that because you're Arab and we're Arab, that we're just gonna wave this magic wand and things are gonna happen immediately. And it doesn't happen that way. So I would say that that's one of the most challenging things.
A continuation to your point of view. Before, we used to say that we, as minority, were being discriminated. Do you think, Hassan, that we might someday be accused, when being majority, of discriminating others?
So, I think you opened it up by saying, look around you, look at all the elected officials in the room, right? Way back when Judge Salami was one of the first to pave the way, right? Let's look at now how the demographics have shifted, but not only the demographics of, we're not talking about race, we're talking about education, we're talking about learning and involvement, right? So when I grew up at home, you know, great upbringing. We were brought up in a house. We didn't get everything we wanted, but we had everything we needed, right? My father and mother always made sure that whatever. I mean, I was the baby, so I kind of got everything I wanted. But if you think about it, the education factor. My father did attend a little bit of college, but he didn't finish, and he was a foreman in the factory. So now I went to school, I attended, I graduated from a university. Doesn't make me better than someone who didn't, though. But the demographics has changed. I think every parent in the room at one point has a hope that their children will end up going to a second level education, right? So now if you look at me personally, I mean, that's the bar in my house for my kids. You know, we talk all the time, what school are you going to go to? Are you gonna play an instrument in college? Are you gonna play a sport in college? What kind of college are you gonna go to? And that's the expectation now. To where I think 30, 40 years ago, it wasn't the expectation, right? I think it was, it was maybe a delicacy if a child, maybe one of seven at one point would go to school out of a 1,100 square foot house, right? I mean, we're beating the odds right now. I think Crestwood and Dr. Masalam could alleviate, or maybe Mr. Abdohari could expand. But right now, I can't remember how many Ivy League acceptance we've had out of Crestwood. I can't remember Well, I do remember one out of 18, they gave out 18, U of M and Arbor gave out 18 academic scholarships. Crestwood had one of them this last year. So if we continue to look, Crestwood is on the map. People know who they are. And that's because I believe it's this generational shift. My father expected me to go to college. I went to college, right? I expect my children to go to college. So now, 15, 20 years from now, maybe I'm that Hassan Bazze when that new kid comes in. And I'm that guy telling him, maybe this is how you go about things, to mentor kids. And I can tell you every single person sitting up here mentors multiple kids. And I don't know how to say mentor in Arabic, Hassan. I know you've told me before.
مربي.
Yeah.
مربي.
And that's something that we're shifting. So to me, to expand and look at Crestwood academically, in my opinion, it's a top public school in Wayne County. That's my opinion because of what I see. It's one of the safest. I can assure you that too.
Lack of teachers. It's a common issue. Anywhere you look at public schools, charter schools, how do you face this issue? Do you have any lack of teachers? And what about the salary? The salary levels in public schools compared to other categories is
I'll let Dr. Masam touch upon the salaries, but before I give it to him, I just wanted to kind of say with what Ms. Al-Zayed said, and even with Hassan said, with discrimination. Will we ever face something like that? Yes, we will. Doesn't mean it's true. No, we'll always be, someone will use of discrimination, corruption, lack of educational purpose within the schools. But I can honestly and strongly say that there isn't anybody on this stage that got into the education field because of anything, or it didn't have, there was no color to it. We got into it because of the passion to help kids. It didn't come with what the kid looked like. We got into it to help all kids. So you're always going to get accused of that, but again, that's just something normal we deal with. As far as the shortages we deal with, yes, we do have them. And like you said, it's everywhere, not just at Crestwood. But with our team at Crestwood, I just know that everybody rises to the challenge. We have our support staff that we're lucky to have. We have our coaches. We have our teachers. Any teacher that can help is always willing to help. So do we have sometimes long-term subs because we have a shortage and we're going through the process? Yes, we do. But everybody steps up. Our coaches are developing the lesson plans for those long-term subs. They are in their coaching model and helping those teachers when they have that break to kind of get them to the next step. All the department chairs, our leadership team, those are all components within our school that are set up to help each other to deal with this kind of stuff. And I think we partnered up with the district, with the local universities to start that kind of a pipeline where even if they have student teachers, because they are going in that field, they are going that route, kind of get them into our building to give them the coaching. So for the future, we have those people available and they find their niche within our Crestwood family to be able to kind of help alleviate some of those shortages that we encounter and the challenges. And you can take over with the money part.
I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt. I just wanted to add something to that. We had a great educator in this community who contributed so much to the success of children in our community. And I don't just mean the Crestwood community, I also mean the Dearborn community. Imad Fadlallah, Allah yarhamu, he gave a speech one time and it really hit home with me. And in his speech, he said that people tell me when I'm doing this job that I have to be colorblind. And he said, well, I'm sorry, I can't be colorblind. Because if I don't see a student's color, so if I don't see their story or where they came from, I can't help them. I can't I can't bring them to succeeding their full potential, right? Because I have to see who they are. So we are a community of color, but that doesn't mean that we're going to discriminate one way or another. It's just having students rise to the level, rise to the potential, but also understanding who they are and where they came from to get them there. So I just did want to add that, sorry. Sorry.
You took a little bit of my thunder, but that's okay. You're the board president. You're allowed to. Another discrimination piece, I just want to touch on that real quick. I'm a Muslim before I'm an educator. In Islam, we do not ever look at people differently because of who they are, where they come from. And that's where I hold the line. And I can assure you that we have meetings with people from different faiths, different backgrounds, different ethnicities. And as Hassan mentioned, we mentor all these children. So it does not matter where anyone comes from, everyone's gonna get the best. In terms of salaries, I'll just tell you a real quick story on how important I think salaries are. Dr. Lazar, who is our associate superintendent, she's here, she leads our negotiating teams with the union. Her and Andrea Hara, who's not here, they go into negotiations. In 2020, we went into the first set of negotiations as a new administration. So we sat and they said, okay, Yusuf, you know, what's our plan? What's our focus? I said, you go in there and off the bat, you tell the union that we're gonna raise the bottom step by $8,000. The union looked at us, well, not me, because I wasn't in negotiations, because Dr. Lazar is my lead negotiator. The union looked at her, you're crazy. We've never had a negotiating team come in and off the bat say, we're gonna give you this. And I'll tell you why. We will pay our teachers the best salary our district can afford. Because our teachers are more important than any other profession in the world. But I say clearly what our district can't afford. Because again, I can go back to funding. And when you break it down, 60 to 70% of our funding is spent on human resources. Because we believe putting the best people in front of the kids is more important than buying something for them. So, and we're going into negotiations again next year. And we're gonna look at where are we, what can we afford, and how can we attain and retain the best teachers. Because if they're not the best, they won't be at the Crestwood School District.
Just a last question for you, Dr. Yusuf, about the classification of Crestwood elementary schools. Is it bad?
No, it is not bad. So,
retarded, as the question says, I mean, there's a lot of students in, too many students in one room.
oh, you're talking about size, classroom size.
Not no, and classification in general.
Yeah, so I'll talk about the, so when I mentioned earlier, we have about $16 million of improvements. 10 million of that, 10 to 12 million of that right now is going into our elementary schools. We are building 12 classrooms between Kinloch, Highview, and Hillcrest. These new classrooms are going to reduce class sizes. Additionally, and it's gonna focus, our focus on reduction of class size is gonna be early elementary, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, the three most crucial years to a child's education. Moreover, with the additional space, we're gonna be able to support more special education students and help them with their success. Again, we are doing this because we have been fiscally responsible. And the money that we receive from ESSER funding, we are using for long-term success. All three of our elementary schools right now, all three of our elementary schools, 2 of them received a reward status, and 1 of them received, not reward, but right below reward. It slips my mind what it is. In the last rating. We are looking at the data right now. We, at the mid-year mark, are seeing, and it was in our last board meeting, we at the mid-year mark are seeing many students improving at a faster rate this year than they did last year. About 15% average improvement across the board. And that's at mid-year. Last year, 90% of our students improved by 1 or more grade levels in the school year. So we are moving in the right direction. But our opportunities are that we have many students with higher needs than we have had in the past. And that is an onset or a offshoot of the COVID pandemic.
في سؤال شهدنا مع إشكالية الكتب في مدينة ديربورن مؤخرا إشكالية تربوية عميقة هي تخبط شخصية التلميذ ما بين عقائد تربوية مختلفة. ما هي الاستراتيجية المتبعة أو التي ينبغي أن تتبع في كريستوود لنشر ثقافة تربوية مدنية موحدة؟
يعني سؤال منيح. لو مثل ما قلت المدارس بتلعب دور كبير بتثقيف التلميذ، يعني تثقيفه من حيث العلم. البيت بيلعب دور أكبر من حيث تثقيف التلميذ، كيف كمان بده يكون جاهز للمجتمع، كيف بده يكون جاهز لحتى يتعامل مع المجتمع. المدارس يعني بوجود المعلمين الكفؤين اللي عم بيختاروهم بالديستريكت، يعني كمان بتلعب دور انه يقدروا يثقفوا للتلميذ اكثر. الجمعيات اللي حوالينا لازم تلعب كمان دور، يعني صار هيدا وطن هون لنا، صرنا مجتمع متكامل، الكل بيلعب دور لتثقيف التلميذ. مثل ما قلت الأهل بيلعبوا دور كبير كثير. وراح اقول لك شغله يا دكتور، انه وقت اللي بده يجي تلميذ على المدرسه بالهاي سكول عم بيسوق فراري، هيدي بتلعب دور كيف تنميه فكر التلميذ لحتى يكون جاهز بعد ما يتخرج من الهاي سكول للمجتمع.
كنا نروح مشي على المدرسه،
هيدي هالشغلات اللي بنشوفها بفوتوا بعض التلاميذ بيبقى لابسين الثياب، معلش يعني مش عم نحاول ننتقد حدا، بس الاهل لازم يساعدوا التلميذ او الطالب او ابنهم انه يكون جاهز لحتى يواجه التحديات. يعني ما فينا نجي نخلي الولد يكون سبويل لدرجه انه لا الاستاذ في يسيطر عليه ولا الاهل فيهم يسيطروا عليه. وتربيه الولد ما بتبلش بعمر ال 16 وال 15 وال 16 وال 18، تربيه الولد بتبلش من هو صغير. الجو بالبيت بيلعب دور كثير مهم، انه كيف تقدر تحضر الولد للمستقبل وقت اللي بتبعته على المدرسه. يعني بالتعاون مجددا، يعني بحب ركز على هذه النقطة، انه لازم الاهل يضل في معهم يصير في تواصل وقت يصير في الكونفرنسز. يعني رجاء ما نقول انه انشغلنا هلا وما بنقدر نروح، لا لازم تروح، لازم كمان انت بس تحكي مع الاستاذ، بتعرف كيف الاستاذ كيف عم بفكر، يعني كيف لوين عم بياخذ الولد. هيدي بتلعب ادوار كثيره يعني. وان شاء الله انه بنكون بدي احب بس يمكن هيدي اخر مهله فاتني كمان، بدي ارجع شوي صغيره لورا، انه وقت اللي صار في تغيير بالبورد اوف اديوكيشن، كمان في عنا سيده كمان الباك جراوند ذكرها يمكن اخي حسن، انه سلوى فواز، يعني كمان لعبت دور كبير بتحول البورد اوف اديوكيشن. وفي عنا كمان مو سابا محمد الصباغ، يعني اجى من باك جراوند بروفيشنال. يعني الاشخاص نطلع على الاشخاص اللي ليدنج هالديستريكت هيدي، يعني عم بركز عليها قصه البورد وقصه الادمنستريشن. عندنا ناس كفؤين لازم نكون معهم، لانه المسيره ماشيه وان شاء الله المسيره رح تكون للافضل، وما في مسايره، يعني ما في مسايره لاي حدا منهم. الشخص اللي بده يعمل بده يشتغل من قلبه، بده يعمل، والحمد لله يعني بعتقد انه نحن على الطريق الصحيح.
I have one final question. Whoever would love to reply. How will we differentiate students like struggling, gifted, ESL? There are bored students in the classrooms.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
How will we differentiate students like struggling, gifted, ESL, etc., knowing that there are bored students in the classrooms?
Bored students?
B-O-R-E-D, bored. Get bored.
Oh, bored students.
Not bored memory.
I thought I was confused for a second. You know, so you have maybe 20 to 25 students in one classroom. The challenges or the opportunities, and challenges doesn't have to be negative either. We can rise to our challenges. But the challenge is that everybody's on a different level, right? So students are learning, at an accelerated level, they're learning at a level where they're supposed to be, or they're learning at a level where they need to come more advanced. And I think the way that we do that is we have staff that knows and is educated on how to work with students of all different levels. And we bring in supplemental employees, like Dr. Masalam was saying. We spend a good portion of our budget on human resources. And that, comes with training individuals to deal with every type of student. But I had the microphone in my hand when the question was asked, but I would like to give it to Ronnie, because Ronnie actually is a principal in the building who has to deal with multiple students and multiple educators and multiple levels.
Good job. So, for example, just at the high school level, with every one of our meetings, it starts off with 4 questions, and those are the PLC questions. What do students know? I'm losing my train of thought. What do students know? What do we do when we get them there? What will we do when they don't get there? And how do we improve upon all that, those things? So, and I think I messed them up a little bit, Dr. Musalam. But that's how our meetings start. So just as an administrative team, we are constantly, there's actually a forum where my administrators, myself, are constantly walking through the building, entering classrooms, and what we have is what we call look fors. What are we looking for? Are we looking for the differentiation of instruction? Are we looking for different ways strategies are being implemented within the classroom to help struggling students? We've also, at the high school level, we've had the resources. We had the support staff. We have our math coach, like I said earlier, our literacy coach, that are working with teachers to model strategies and implement certain things within the classroom to help them meet the needs of all those students. We put in places intervention classes. For example, if you're struggling on math, we've taken classrooms where we put those struggling students, like 8 or 10 students in a class, to allow that teacher to have the time and opportunity to work individually with those students so they can meet their needs and get them to the next level. And this is ongoing. And then we also have our school improvement. And that's where the data piece comes in. We look at our data. We see how our students are doing. Where are the areas of improvements? Where are the areas we're excelling in? And we reevaluate. We put our goals in place and reevaluate what we need to do as a school and who are the people to help support with those to meet those goals, and how do we got everybody working together on the same team to be able to address the needs of our students. So that's just the tip of the iceberg of all the things we're doing, but there's more. And just to kind of touch off what Hassan said, in terms of those scholarships, I'm going to correct you. It was 33 students that received scholarships to the University of Ann Arbor last year from Krested High School.
أنا بدي أتشكركم. نحن أخذنا 3/4 ساعة زيادة عن الوقت المسموح. كنا يفترض نحن الساعة للساعة 8. بتشكر المتحف وين وسام. We have to thank عن جد لازم نتشكر المتحف لأنه نحن الاتفاق من 7 ل 8 صار 6 ساعة ل4 ساعة. فبتشكركم كلكم فردا. دكتور يوسف، دانيال، حسن، روني. بدي اتوجه بالشكر اكثر شيء مش اكثر شيء بشكل خاص لحسن. ابو نادر لولا هذه الامسيه ما صارت. يعني انا عمليا بعرف دكتور يوسف، حسن شوي عذبوني شوي بس شكرا كثير. بدي اتشكر خينا احمد مكي اللي is our sponsor for this evening and he is our sponsor for the year to come. Thank you very much.
Yes. I just wanted, before we finish, this is an excellent panel. There's so much here, so much information, but I do want to tell you, you can get information, you can get your answers, your questions answered. You can find out exactly what's going on in the schools. You can find out where money is going, what programs are up to date, who's being hired in the district. You can find that all out 2 times every month, because we have our school board meetings twice a month, and I encourage everybody to come, bring your neighbors, bring your family, bring your friends, come to the school board meetings and find out exactly what's going on and get real-time information. We have amazing board members. We have a wonderful team. It's just Hassan and I up here from the school board, But trust me, we have many more school board members that have so much more to offer and have so much knowledge that they can offer to the community, especially people like Billy Amen, Mo Seba, Salwa Fawaz, David Williamson, Nadia Berry. I mean, it's not just us two. These are the two that you're seeing, but it's a team.
Anything to say, Dr. Yusuf? Just to finalize?
Final words is thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. My doors are open. As President Al-Zayat said, we are extremely transparent. You want to know where every dollar is spent? We will show you. You want to know how we're improving? We will help you. You want a tour of the school? I will buy you the cup of coffee and walk through with you.
I'll come tomorrow. Thank you very much. Thank you. شكركم جميعا، شكر حضوركم. إلى اللقاء أول أربعاء بالشهر الجاي على الأغلب راح